Hi, this is James Garden, the CineTechGeek at NAB2019, and I'm at the CISCO stand with Brian Bedford. Now, this year is pretty big for the cloud. There's been a lot of developments in the standards community, which I think's really put a fire under the development of cloud technologies. And Cisco obviously builds infrastructure which cloud lives on. And so I thought I'd come here today and get some insight into what Cisco is doing and some of their vendors or some of the people using their technology. And so Brian, just tell us who you are and then tell us about the BBC and the Studio Canal, was it?
Canal Plus.
Yes, please tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm Brian Bedford. I'm the industry lead for media and entertainment here at Cisco. And what you're seeing in our booth, if you come, is really about how we're trying to really influence the adoption of IP and IT technologies inside the media supply chain. So for many years we've talked about the media blueprint being kind of a blueprint of how you're going to adopt IP technology into this market. And so, you know, the last couple of days we've showcased some of our recent wins that have been in this market, like the BBC in the UK, as well as Canal Plus in Paris. Both great, innovative partnerships where they're moving to a converged IP infrastructure, or COTS-based infrastructure as the market would call it, to be their underlining switch fabric to support their new broadcast infrastructure. So quite exciting, really two innovative customers, and we're thrilled to have them, and we're really thrilled to showcase a lot of this cool innovation this week here in Las Vegas.
Fantastic. Now, I like to explain some of these things when they talk about them. So BBC, for example, moving to this IP fabric infrastructure, for example, they're basically detaching themselves from moving from 4K to 8K. The infrastructure can pretty much adopt those technologies when they come along.
Right.
And that's predominantly one of the main advantages, but can you go through some of the other ones which they really see as the blue sky of moving to this sort of infrastructure?
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think what we heard from them this week is, listen, this is at least a 10-year journey for their investment. And so by moving to IP, they now have a best-of-breed approach to be as flexible with whatever kind of environment or deployment that they want to have in the marketplace. And so they didn't want to be, number one, they didn't want to be the last SDI infrastructure put in the world because it was a greenfield opportunity. Number two, they wanted to make sure that they had the most flexible environment that they possibly could have. And so that gave them the ability to select a full interoperability of vendors and you know, from replay to production, graphics, you name it. Now they're really waiting on the ecosystem of partners to really, you know, validate and create interoperability. But long term, that investment is, you know, significant. And so they're looking at, you know, they're thinking about that return on investment with their skilled labor, their staffing, their training, their interoperability. All of those things are part of their kind of cost-benefit analysis to really look at it. Because otherwise, what they didn't want to do, at least what they said, was, you know, we didn't want to be put in a spot where we were pigeonholed into a technology that doesn't allow us to grow into the new types of things. We're looking at UHD, we're looking at 4K, we're looking at 8K. Well, at some point in time, we could run out of flexibility for just as a broad term, right? And so this gives them the maximum ability to be as flexible with their infrastructure as they possibly could have. So, and then it allows them to, you know, also expand to do other data center type technologies in that environment. Also allows them to have, they wanted to have a model where not just at the BBC Wells, but at multiple locations that, you know, multiple different studios, they wanted to be able to replicate that for the most part, right, in each of their environments around the country, so that, you know, as they train people and move people around different locations, that skill set and that knowledge will transfer with them. So it's not just the technology cost infrastructure benefit, but it's also kind of a human capital benefit that they're thinking about long term.
For example, I like to bring examples into these discussions because it's all a bit fluff. Otherwise, filming a location but keeping all the editors in another location, for example.
Yeah, one example.
That's so we've got a lot of those sort of, so also sharing links so we can put multiple SDI, you know, data on a, you know, 100 megabit link or whatever.
Correct.
And you can put all that together into one infrastructure, and the formats and all the different file formats that you could potentially use are totally transparent to the infrastructure.
Yeah, it's a combination of flexibility of talent, people, location, space, and then the technology. You put it all together, right? That's when you really are able to truly maximize your investment.
Now, let's just talk about, like, I like to support a lot of the knowledge and put this out there for the smaller post-production facilities.
Sure.
and I can see some advantages for them as well. But like, we don't have a lot of equipment yet with IP based or Ethernet's in the back of them. But do you think that'll come and really enhance the solutions even more?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, in our booth, we're showing a virtualized Avid workflow leveraging our data center technology. So we're seeing that being deployed today. So it's very real. I would say that, has the industry adopted that at the level that we want it to?
No.
The answer is no. But it's being done, right?
Yes.
It can be done.
Yes.
And so as, again, goes back to some of that skilled labor, training, new ideas, thought leadership, put all that together, this market's headed that way. We've seen large major broadcasters around the world that are virtualizing their environments in the post environment. So
it's a sort of maturity thing.
Yeah, it's a market maturity issue.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Anyway, thank you much, Brian. It's
Yeah.
a very good introduction to how cloud and IPization of the industry is occurring, and this is NAB's the place to come and see it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
And this is James Scarlett, the CineTechGeek at NAB 2019. Bye for now.